Welcome to the Lakeshow podcast. This is a weekly deep dive into the biggest stories and topics surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm Allie Clifton, joined by my Spectrum SportsNet co-host, Chris McGee, and our Laker insider, Mike Bresnahan. Guys, we're going to get right into it. And I'm going to start with a fun little note that I received last night, because some of you guys are aware, some of you are not. But Geet and I, from a hosting perspective, sometimes will share on game nights where I will do pregame. He will take over at halftime and then host postgame. So therefore, sometimes I go home, I watch the game at home, and so we don't get to interact as much as if I'm here, though he is setting some rules for me moving forward.
Yes.
Because the Lakers are winning, and it's just a lot of fun. However, last night, midway through the postgame show, towards the end of the postgame show, I get a random text from Geeter that just said, "Do you like winning?" That was it. Do you like winning?
I just wanted to know if she enjoyed winning.
And I just put laughing emojis because I knew how he was feeling.
Yeah.
And he said, "Look, I wasn't sure. I had to ask."
Yeah. Just want to know.
Yeah.
I also called you last night.
What time?
You didn't answer.
I feel really bad.
Yeah.
Neither of us are answering
Neither
your
of you guys
phone
answered.
call.
I called them.
Did you want to share your winning thoughts? Your
you were at the game. I wanted to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologize for caring and wanting to win.
Let me set the table up for you before you dive in. You were down there. Lakers are on a 6-game winning streak, of course. They've got wins over the Blazers, the Nuggets, the Mavs, the T-Wolves, and the Clippers now twice.
They've beaten the Clippers 37 straight times, it feels like, in the last 3 weeks.
It actually does.
I think they figured out the Clips by
They
now.
have, 18 of 22. They're 11-2 since the beginning of February. Yep. They finished that month out 10-2, now 11-2. They've got the best record since January 14th.
Yep, 6 weeks. A little over.
Wow.
Best defense.
Yep.
It's been fun. And there's a lot to talk about. And we like this kind of chatter. So
Yes.
How was it down there last night, Mike Bresnahan?
You know, I told Geeter in the newsroom earlier today, I said, it's a different vibe down there right now. There's still this post-Luka euphoria. And, you know, fans are like totally going crazy over him, and the media too. Like usually when someone big comes to town, all the media is in one corner filming him, like, you know, shooting him with their phone, TV cameras, whatever, whenever they're doing pregame warmups. Last night, everybody is on Luka. All the media members, fans, everyone's got their phone up. It's crazy. Like, I haven't seen this in a long, long time. And I think people are just excited about, A, the way they're playing. B, Luka is a very animated player. You know, this is nothing against Anthony Davis, but AD was very chill, very low-key. Luka last night, first quarter, I think it was, he's like pounding his chest, looking at the Clippers bench. My interpretation was he was staring at their defensive coordinator, Jeff Van Gundy, saying,
He was.
Yeah, you know, you can't single cover me, dude. So this is the emotion you didn't get from Anthony Davis, a very gifted player in his own right. But Luka is bringing like some excitement. It's just something new, something fans are still getting used to.
Different edge.
Different edge, thank you. And he's not afraid to call out opponents, as we saw last night, not afraid to call out the refs, as I saw a couple times last night. And it's a completely different vibe out there, Geet.
He has a huge chip on his shoulder because he was crapped on the way out of town in Dallas, and he's going to let everyone know about it. And here's the beautiful thing about Luka. He hates the same teams we all hate as Laker fans. Hates the Clippers, hates the Celtics, hates the refs.
Yep.
Now he hates the Mavs. I mean, it's kind of a fantastic little perfect storm, and he's enjoying it, and the fans love him, and everyone's excited he's here. And I think he's kind of through the shock and awe of being traded and the upheaval of his life that it was, and he's settled in, and he's also, and this is big props to, I would say, LeBron, AR, JJ, everyone else involved. Like, they're letting him be him, and he's brought that up a couple of times, and I think that right there is the key. He's not trying to fit in anymore. He's trying to fit out, as LeBron said. I give LeBron so many props. LeBron James has been absolutely phenomenal this season in the way he's adjusted and let Luka do his thing while still dominating games, to me, is why you always have to put him in the greatest of all time conversations. Like what LeBron is doing at 40 years old, to me, it's the best season I've seen in an individual season. I mean, you could put it up there with Kobe's 08, with all the greats that we've seen. Jordan 96. For me, this year, what LeBron is doing at 40 years old is all time.
Is it him individually, or is it also that paired with like the manipulating of what is in front of him, whether it is a defense or bringing a team together, or it's the change that's happened and you've seen it seamlessly.
That's a great point. I kind of think it's all of it. I mean, listen, for all the fans that are back on the Lakers and excited and watching again, what I was telling this to Brez, what I've been trying to tell them is we've actually been really good for about 2.5, 3 months. And all through that time, there was different things shorthanded along the way, little injuries here and there. But one thing that's remained constant is when LeBron came back after taking a few games off, he has been an MVP. LeBron James, to me, is in the top 3 of the MVP voting race. And I think you're crazy if you don't put him there. So, yeah, I think like it's leadership, it's the change, it's setting the tone, it's setting an example, it's new life, whatever you want to call it. I think he's just embracing it all.
Yesterday, you mentioned the MVP race, which it's kind of a fun topic, especially right now, and especially when it involves because
final 20 games.
Yes, being 40 years old, season 22. ESPN, we showed it on the pregame show leading into that second Clipper matchup on Sunday. What do they have? They have Nicole at 1, their power rankings. They had Shea at 2. Who would they have at 3?
Probably Tatum or Giannis.
It was Tatum was at 3, and then you had Giannis at 4, and you had LeBron at 5.
You put LeBron right above Giannis for sure.
Rob even made that point. He feels that he should be higher on that list.
I mean, why is LeBron and AD always getting dinged for Defensive Player of the Year MVP award when they didn't have enough wins? Now LeBron has his team at 2nd in the Western Conference, 5th best in the NBA, only a game or 2 away from top 3. Okay, where narratives are built in the beginning of the year. Like MVP candidates shouldn't be built in the first 20 games, right? What about the last 40 games? Where LeBron, you know what I mean? So it's a body of work. His numbers right now are better than they were when he won the MVP in 2012-13. LeBron James's numbers at 40 are better than they were 12 years ago when he was apparently in his prime at 28 years old. Wrap your head around that.
Which, by the way,
he won a championship.
Shout out to Andrew Miller building that graphic yesterday. I see that circulating on Twitter right now, and it's not getting the proper credit. Spectrum SportsNet, that graphic, because it is very impressive.
He builds a lot of graphics that don't get the credit that they deserve.
CCM. Right.
Yeah, Lakeshow, yo, man. Come on, bro.
We see what you're doing.
A little at.
A little at for us, buddy.
SportsNet.
So the Lakers are
Lakeshow, yo, cracks me up,
second in the West, as you mentioned, by percentage points.
Yes.
Yeah.
38-21. That is 17 games over 500. They've got 23 games to go. I love JJ's line of, I'm not going to be okay with just being in the play-in. I'm not going to think about seedings. I'm not going to process the seedings until we're in the playoffs.
We're having fun with them being second because we all know how much we've worked here, and you haven't seen that since 2020. And it's a lot of fun to see the climb because it has taken, 3/4 of the season to get there. But none of these guys should care about it. JJ is 100% right. There's 23 games left. You can't have time to think about, we're 2 seed by half a game. Like, you got to keep going, and they have a tough schedule coming up. But they are going to be above the line. They are going to be above the line. They are not going to be in the playing game.
No, finally. The last 5 years, Keith?
That's for sure.
Yeah, the last 5 years, they were either in the play-in tournament 4 times, and then they failed to make the playoffs that one time.
Yep.
And so it was actually enlightening for me when I said to Luka last night, post-game in the locker room, first question, hey, congrats, you're in second in the West. And he goes, we are?
Yeah.
Like, he had no idea. And I think that's good because we're a few days into March. It's fun for us to talk about. And it's really interesting to note that just in the last 3.5, 4 weeks, they've gone from 7th to 2nd, tied for 7th with Minnesota in mid-January to 2nd.
Mid-January.
And Luka's been here for most of it. But that ascension, Allie, that's hard to do in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
Now, and the thing I liked was they don't care. Like, they feel like, okay, he was surprised. He's like, oh, cool. That's great. But they're not like, yeah, we need to finish second. But it's a goal, definitely. Now that you're not going to be in the play-in, my take is you just swept the Clippers over the weekend. You're not going to be in the play-in tournament. That pretty much, to me, clinches a top 6 spot.
It'd be really hard to make that up.
Certainly the math is there where the Lakers could fall that far into 7 or 8. But I don't think it's happening.
Yeah.
They're 6.5 up on the Clippers.
I mean, if they go 500 the rest of the way, Clippers would have to go 18-6 or something. It's a crazy number that they would have to.
You would not be well, my friend. You would not be well.
No, and listen, I'm not like putting anything, I'm not celebrating anything yet. I'm excited about it. I'm happy about it. But to me, the goal should be hosting a first
100%.
round playoff series because I believe they're right there, and I want that for them. Even that's going to be very difficult when you look at the teams that they are jockeying with, but I think that's a goal. And then obviously that next goal would be, okay, if you can host 2 rounds, that's something.
Finish second.
But let's not worry about that yet. Let's try to stay in the top 4 because it is not easy to stay there.
Yeah.
You got to win a lot of tough games. And then games like Charlotte happen. I mean, think about the losses they've had. It was like Charlotte and Utah are the only loss they had in
Isn't it such a better feeling, though,
losses.
when you think about those games that they lost, but to be 17 games over 500 in this position?
1,000%. And I was saying this last night, maybe to be more, I think, but I was like, I would much rather lose those games now and beat good teams. I hated the narrative like, well, the Lakers are beating everyone under 500, but they can't win games over 500 because the people don't think you're that good.
Yeah.
They're beating everyone in the league right now. Boston, I mean, they're hammering whoever gets in their way. You can afford to lose a Charlotte game. I don't like it. Charlotte played like crap. We should have won that game.
Yep. Let's look at the next 6 to that point because they've got 2 more on this homestand and they go out on a 4-game road trip. I don't want to give the numbers away, but you mentioned it. They are beating great teams, which is awesome to see. It's how many versus teams above 500 now? 11 straight?
Since mid-January. I don't know the exact number, but
you're going to dive into that.
They lost to the Clippers. I think it was January 17th.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think it's 11 straight now versus teams above
it's a lot.
500. So you've got the Pelicans on Tuesday, and then you've got the Knicks on Thursday.
Then you go on the road.
A tough one in Boston, who has turned some things up and around. The Brooklyn Nets, the Milwaukee Bucks, and then another matchup with the Nuggets. That is a back-to-back.
Wow.
The Bucks and the
What
Nuggets.
kind of scheduling
there.
is that?
That's that Bucks Nuggets starts the 6 games in 8 days. So you have all those crazy games, Keith. And after that slate right there, you have 4 games in the next 6 days.
Yeah, then you have Phoenix and San Antonio back-to-back. Then you have the Bucks and Denver back-to-back at home.
Yeah. It's great.
I think that's insane. And the Lakers obviously will be very shorthanded because you're not going to be able to play guys every single night. You can't play all 6 games, so I don't know how they're going to manage that. You know, you don't know where AR is going to be at that point. Hopefully he's back. You won't have Rui.
I think so.
You won't have Rui yet.
Yeah.
So that's difficult, but the team keeps impressing me when they're short. The games I think they're going to lose because of missing guys. Remember the Knicks game. They find ways to win, so they've really impressed me.
Because you mentioned Rui and Austin Reeves, I do just want to give this injury update now, just because you mentioned it. Shams on Austin Reeves, he's day-to-day after the MRI on his right calf, revealed no serious injury. He obviously left the game early on Friday versus the Clippers. That's a good sign there for Austin. He is questionable as of right now for the game against the Pelicans. And then Rui, you just mentioned that. This is new. Diagnosed with the patellar tendinopathy.
Yes.
Reevaluated in 1 week. He was injured in the T-Wolves game February 27th.
Good job, Dr. Clifton.
I think about Norman Powell, who has the same thing, who tried to come back in 17 days against the Lakers and did not fare well and got hurt again.
He addressed someone in his DMs that he did not come back for the Lakers.
But he did. 1,000%. And even Luka knows
He
it now.
lasted 9
Yes,
minutes.
and
Luka
even
said it
Luka
last night.
knows
Like,
it
man,
now.
I had no idea about that, but that is
was
right.
hilarious. We talk about this all the time, how whenever the Lakers are playing someone, on that opposing team is a guy who's been out for 1 week,
It is
2 weeks,
It's just a
2
fact in
months.
basketball, and every player knows it. It's
and
funny.
they always come
yeah.
back. And Luka talked about it last night. I started laughing to myself.
They play the Clippers and Lakers always. They used to always play at Staples or now Crypto. They'd always play with him, and it's 100%. If the guy was not playing the Clipper game, he would play in the Laker game. It's never not
He could have been
happened.
in the hospital that morning with the worst flu ever. He'd play that night, whoever he is. I mean, it's unbelievable how the Lakers always get the healthiest version of the opposing team.
It is a weird thing because I remember when players would come early on when I was with Cleveland and Bron had come back, and players would always say that Bron complains too much or he's always, asking for calls that he doesn't deserve. And then guys would come and play for the Cavs on his team and they're like, oh, he really does. And, you could say the same thing about Luka. Like, Luka complains a lot. Is he really getting... And now he's on your team and you're like, oh, he really is taking 2 to 3 guys to the rack every time, not getting calls. It is such an interesting...
It is
and
such
for
an
him to say,
interesting
oh,
dynamic.
yeah, people do come back versus the Lakers.
Yeah,
That
Luka's
is the
strong,
thing.
by the way, man.
Yeah, he
Big,
is.
yeah.
He's a strong dude.
Fun to watch.
How would you feel record-wise over the next 6? What do you want to see?
Well,
Give them to me: Pelicans, Knicks, Boston, Denver,
Nets,
Nets.
Bucks,
Nets,
Nuggets.
Bucks.
2 teams have given up. So that's, the Nets and Pelicans should be 2 wins. Then it gets a little tough with the other ones. I would say 4-2, 5-1, just because just enough of those games are on the road where you can't say they're gimmies or anything.
I think you'd sign up for 4-2.
4-2 sounds good.
So you'd be pretty.
Feel good about that.
Yeah, you get to 3-3, then you're all of a sudden slipping back to 5th and 4th, and but I mean, that's 3-3 is not. It's not a. You wouldn't be ashamed of that. These teams are, you're playing on the road in tough environments back to back. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah, basically 4 teams chasing 3 spots, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Man, if you can win the next 2 at home, though, Brez, find a way to beat the Knicks and Pelicans, and feel good about going into that road trip. And you could get one on that road trip. You could get one on that road trip, and now you're at least at 3.
I agree.
And Nets too. Yeah, I'm saying you get 2. You can go 2-2, and now that's how you're at 4-2.
Yeah, the Nets are. You'd recognize very few of their players these days. I just picked up a guy in my fantasy league named Killian Hayes. So they're
sagging for flag.
Yeah, they're waving the flag. They're done.
We're waving this segment. We're heading to break. Lakeshow fans, remember you can be a part of this show each week. Feel free to send us your questions and comments. We'd love to hear from you. We're taking a quick break. When we return, we'll dive into the Lakers by the numbers with Brez. Welcome back to the Lakeshow Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, you can check out more original podcasts from our Spectrum News journalists on the Spectrum News app. Just head to the podcast section to listen to the latest episodes. You can download the Spectrum News app on the App Store or Google Play. All right, it's time now for a round of Lakers by the numbers with Brez. That's a mouthful, but I like it. 3 stats, kind of like our 3-point play, surrounding the Lakers that stand out for you. And you're going to start with a date.
Yes, we've confirmed it was January 19th, the last time the Lakers lost to a team over 500. And we've been devoting certain portions of our pre- and post-game shows to the fact that they couldn't beat teams over 500. And now they've won 11 in a row. Allie, your number was right earlier in the pod. 11 in a row against teams that are over 500. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And I think you're right. If they lose one to a sub-500 team every once in a while, that's actually nothing really new for Laker championship teams.
Yeah.
Kobe and Powell could never win in Charlotte.
And the best teams in the league, it happens to. I watch every day, and I'm like, oh, they lost to,
Yeah, even like the Shaq and Kobe teams, you'd be like, why can't they win in Portland when Portland might not have been that good that particular year? Anyway, I'd much rather have them beating the over 500 teams.
I'm with you. Another
funny number for me, I was so ready to ask LeBron last night at his locker, hey, you passed 50,000 career points, but he's stuck at 49,999.
Yep.
And it's not for lack of trying.
Pretty sure he gets it.
Yeah. I have a pretty good feeling he's going to get it. But he's just that close.
I'm just kidding.
No.
Does he play or try to get it versus the Knicks on Thursday? I'm just kidding.
Ooh, remember those conversations always. When's he going to get it?
Yeah.
Right. This one, pretty sure he's going to get it. Pretty impressive stat. Career, playoff, and regular season games. In fact, he's going to have 50,000 plus points. It's funny to talk to Dalton Connect before the game last night. Say, Dalton, you've scored 482 points in your career. How does 50,000 sound? And he's just like, wow, obviously he's a rookie,
bro.
And he's just starting to climb that wall. Most players get to what? I don't know, 5,000, maybe 10,000 if you play a while. 50, crazy. Finally, producer B Moore was all over this one.
I love this one. I know it's coming.
Jemison the third.
We were all over it last night. We were loving this one, dude.
The Lakers 11-0.
Yep.
When Trey the third, Trey J, plays. Wow. I mean, that guy.
Hack-a-Trey was happening last night.
I mean, he probably needs to work on the free throws. What was he, 37%?
He hit one of them, though.
Yeah. He made one. That's a good
JJ
start.
said you're out.
Yeah.
And JJ said you're out.
But he's another breath of fresh air. Mm-hmm. This team is so likable right now with the players they've added and just the personalities. And, of course, it helps when you win. Everyone's in a good mood. Not just the players, but the coaches and the people around the team, and and the fans obviously.
You guys like winning?
Loving it. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
I will say
those are a lot of numbers, Brez, throughout. Some good ones too. All positive Peters.
Yeah, how could it not be, right?
Peters.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Positive Peters.
No negative Nellies.
No. You can't throw that out. You can't throw that out with a microphone in my face. Come on, bro. Having said that, speaking of Trey, I think I texted you on Friday night because we were talking about just how scrappy they looked against.
You were at the game, yes.
And I was at the game, and just the amount of minutes Trey was getting in that game on that back line, especially when they were defending at the end that we sit at, his communication and just how much he was talking.
Strong dude, man.
He had LeBron on his left. And it's just like to have that, like, one, you got to know what you're saying. You got to know what you're talking about. The coverages you're spitting out, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought then his post-game comments of, you literally have to fight. Like, that's our mentality.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. The Lakers are going to have a tough choice because they can elevate one of their 3 two-way guys.
Only one.
That's all they have under the second apron. That's all they have room for. So will it be Trey Jemison
Dude, that's
going to the
tough.
playoffs? This is.
That's tough.
Will it be Koloko or Goodwin, who is obviously hurt right now? So
Can I ask you a question? If they had room for 2, could you do 2, or is it a rule you can only do 1?
You could. They just don't have the cap space.
Yeah, I got you.
Because picking up Alex Len,
Oh, shit.
they have the cap space. They don't have the apron space
Yeah, I got
to
you.
make it happen. So, Koloko's still in the mix. He's playing for the South Bay Lakers, getting his time there. But to me, do you need a guard? They don't have to decide till basically the last day of the regular season.
It's a good
and
winner,
they're going
is
to
it?
look at their who's healthy. If you got a couple guards out, you probably elevate Goodwin. If you got some bigs out, then you probably elevate Jemison or Koloko. Jemison seems like that guy right now.
Well, especially with no Rui.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But you lost a big guy.
Yeah. Let's do, just because we only have a couple more minutes, let's do some quick notes before we finish. How about this one? Mark Daigneault, named Western Conference Coach of the Month, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Over JJ?
They had an 11-2 record in February. JJ and the Lakers 10-2.
Okay. I mean, OKC's
Marinate on
been
that.
wire to wire first in the West, pretty much. So, okay.
JB Bickerstaff.
And to go through with the late, that's weak, dude. JB should get it in the East, but that's weak.
JB Bickerstaff wins it in the East. The Pistons. You gonna see your buddy Luke this week?
That's a good call.
I'm happy for them, man.
You gonna see your buddy Luke this week?
Why? They're not coming in town, are they?
He's in town.
To play the Clippers?
Pistons are in town, yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yep.
What night?
I don't know. I didn't look that far.
Yeah, I don't know the Clippers schedule.
Good.
Zach LaVine and Jalen Brunson take home Player of the Week honors. I mainly mentioned that because obviously Brunson and the Knicks are coming to town this week. 29.3 points for Jalen, 6.3 assists. Lakers, number 4 on NBA.com's power rankings. You want to know the list?
Can I guess?
Please.
Cleveland.
1.
I think it'll be OKC Boston, but I think it's Boston OKC.
Nope. You were correct the first time. OKC Boston.
Yeah. But I'm saying I think it should be Boston.
Oh,
'cause
okay,
I still
yeah.
think they're the team to beat.
Yep.
But if you're going to go power rankings on how everyone's playing, it should be Cleveland, OKC. and
Maybe because they dropped that game to Cleveland after being up.
Boy,
as big on Friday?
That's exactly why. You're right.
Maybe. So you had Cavs, Thunder, Celtics, Lakers, and then Denver
Yeah.
behind them. Were your top
I think that's
5.
what everyone would have
Okay.
right now.
Yeah.
If you're going off of what everyone's been doing for the last
Mm-hmm.
6 to 8 weeks.
Milwaukee 6. Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
Yep.
that's good.
And last, we talk about obviously LeBron reaching 50K. He now has 1,000 career wins in the regular season, which is 4th most all time. 2 wins away from passing who for 3rd?
Man, it
Look
can't.
on trivia.
That
Stockton.
Larry.
Nope.
No. Sorry, I can't be Larry.
Player on the Lakers.
Yeah. Oh, from Rob's there.
Kid?
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan for
Oh,
3rd.
Yep.
Yep, right there. You see the list.
Tim Duncan.
wow.
Kareem.
There's only a handful of guys that
74.
could have this many wins, and you're looking at them right there.
Yeah. That's impressive.
Robert Parrish. That's the only time he's ever smiled in his life. He always had this big.
Look at
90
Chief.
left.
Frown.
This is a new format that we're doing with the Lakeshow podcast. So for the last 90 seconds, let's adopt something. Let's do what has your panties in a bunch? It could be positive. It could be negative. It could be something that you just want to get off your chest. Y'all love that. I know. What
Right?
is it?
You wanna
Hot
start?
take.
That's good.
Has nothing. Doesn't even have to do with basketball.
That's good.
We got to end with a little humor and personality.
Zeffy have a bad walk today, Geet? Anything like that?
No, but I like this game.
I will
like
say,
this.
walking
What?
into the studio, Geeter was just following me around, and he said, "I'm just following you around like Zeffy."
Yeah, I was following you
I
around.
like
It was
it.
weird.
Yeah.
But do you have one since you came up with this? It's a great thing. Come up with one.
I don't, but
We're
I'm
just so
giving it to
happy
you
when they're
guys.
winning.
I've got
Brett's
one.
come up with something.
Walked a buddy's dog, my friend Charlie, and I've done it a couple times over the weeks, last few weeks. I can never figure out how to open the doggy bag. It's impossible.
Brett, you got
You gotta lick your fingers.
Yep.
You lick the fingers?
Yeah,
Okay.
and just
Like
get a little,
fingers.
Not
and
even
then you
kidding.
open it up and then put it in your pocket so you already have it opened up.
Okay.
How do you pick up the dog
I
poop?
panicked so badly the first time I couldn't get it, and a lot of people are walking back and forth past me.
And people
looking
need
at
to
me.
know, like, Brez has never had a kid or a dog, right? So, like, you're learning on the
Y'all
fly.
are
This
welcome.
was all
Thanks
new.
to you for
It
listening to
was-
Lakeshow
it was all new.
Podcast. If you like what you hear, leave us a rating and review on your favorite
So you lick your
podcast
fingers,
app.
Keith?
We want to
Yeah,
hear
just
from
a
you.
little.
Send us your questions. What has your panties in a bunch? Hit us up on X at Real Clifton at Keto 3 at Mike _Bresnahan. Until next week, these two gentlemen are amazing.
He's not wrong.
Did you know there's a new way to watch your favorite team, and it's available exclusively to Spectrum customers this season? You can watch Lakers games on Spectrum SportsNet Plus with the NBA app on us when you add internet and at least one mobile line. This offer is a slam dunk total value of $194.99. To learn more, head to spectrum.com/getlakers.